Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yep.
We're good.
Wrong.
You go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Didn't go
Hello.
live. Let's go to.
Oh well. Yeah. Hold on. I need this thing over.
Not yet.
One viewer, so us probably.
Yeah. That's fine. Good. It'll save
Mm-hmm.
and it'll play. We'll be able to post the link again after we're done.
I don't want this link above.
I know.
But then it's like it's covering.
Or if it's down here, you kind of don't notice it at all, so that's good too.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
So we stopped. What if we don't get any viewers?
Yeah. Well, then it'll still save to be able to post it still as a separate thing. Like, hey, we were
True.
live earlier.
True. True.
Yeah, I'd like to see some more viewers than that. We did say 11.
Like, I don't know if it doesn't start till, because we went in and it said, please wait, starting soon. Like, I don't know how we did it last time. Because I think we just started it when we got there. We didn't make it before and say it's starting at 11. We said it's starting now.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people can't come in till absolute 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is what it is.
If we said starting at 10:45,
But is this recording to like our YouTube?
maybe
I
not.
don't know.
Maybe it won't start till 1 minute from now.
Like, will it tell us? I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it. No, it's up.
0 viewers.
We lost one.
Darn it. Should I close this thing in the background? There we go. We just started 11 even if we had
I
no
don't
viewers.
know.
Just, hey, we're...
Yeah, because you never know when they're going to join.
That's 11.
Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. We are live from Shiloh Bar and Grill.
That we are.
College football is back, and like 2 children who slipped through the cracks of the school system. No wives, no girlfriends, just football. Here we are live at Shiloh, the place to be here on a game day in Columbia. If you're not at the game itself, it's Shiloh. Just had the chili cheese nachos, which were amazing. Come on
Barbecue
in.
pulled pork sandwich, also
Yes.
amazing. Definitely get that.
Well, great stuff, guys. We're so glad to be here. Glad to be in Columbia. Week 1, Missouri, taking on the South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
That's right.
SDSU, not San Diego State. We don't need a Mo Miracle today. But South Dakota State, a very competent team from the FCS, and what can we expect from this game here at 2:30, which will be on ESPNU?
I think you can expect Zach Zenner, and then you're going to get a little dose of Zach Zenner.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're going to see. 2,000 yards last year. Over the last 2 years, he's had over 4,000 yards, 36 touchdowns. So they're definitely going to feed the beast the ball and see if he can carry him to a miracle win.
Zenner's been a big-time player for them. He had a 200-yard game against the Nebraska Cornhuskers last year, so definitely a force to be reckoned with.
2 years ago against KU, 99-yard touchdown run, 183 yards.
I mean, that's no accomplishment against KU.
99 yards is always an accomplishment. Maybe not as much because it is KU, but it's still something to put a feather in your hat.
Well, he's a big-time player, like we said. And, but is this any cause for concern for Missouri? I mean, Missouri, of course, coming in, the big talk, replacing all but 8 starters on offense and defense. Matty Mock, we can't wait to see what he does in his first, of course, he started 4 games last year, but his first year being the guy. We're going to see Matty Mock today. With a thin receiving core, but can this South Dakota State team present any kind of a challenge at all?
On the defensive side of the ball with the Jackrabbits, I don't think so. You look at Jerian Butler, their corner. He's a really good corner, athletic. Dallas Brown, a 195-pound linebacker. I'm not sure I've heard of such a thing. Very small for the linebacking core, but he kind of splits out and plays the nickel in their sub packages, and when they're going against 3 or 4 wide receiver sets, which they will go against a lot against Missouri, he can make some plays. So it's going to be difficult. Those 2 players are really the ones you need to keep an eye on. But other than that, Mizzou should have their way. It'll be a good warm-up game for them, I think.
Well, let's talk about Missouri. And I mentioned a minute ago about the thin receiving core. Now, gone are LaDainian Washington, gone Dorial Green Beckham,
Marcus
Lucas. They're gone. That's 73% of Missouri's pass-catching, production from a year ago is gone. Bud Sasser, Jimmy Hunt,
Darius White,
Sean Culkin. Who steps up? Who makes this team? Who makes Missouri? Who makes Matty Mock's job easier from a receiving standpoint? Because that is going to be, one of the things we highlight today and on through the season.
Yeah, Bud Sasser and Jimmy Hunt, I think we're expecting a lot out of those 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting on both sides with the receiving core. Both sides have very big receivers and 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" receivers, and their secondaries are really small, 5'11", 5'10", so it's going to be interesting on both sides. The Jackrabbits have an all-or-nothing secondary. They either make a big play or they give up the big play. And I think today you're going to see them give up the big play a lot. I think it's going to be a good warm-up game, good to get the timing down with the offense, Matty Mock and these receivers, and learn the offense. And I think they're going to get comfortable more as the game goes on, and I think you're going to see some big plays.
Well, where these type of FCS teams, where they were really lacking are in the trenches, and Missouri definitely has the advantage there. Missouri's defensive line, not just the defensive ends in Shane Ray and Marcus Golden, which might be the best tandem in the nation, but the rotation defensive tackle, Matt Hoke, Lucas Vincent, Brantley, and certainly Josh Augusta at 330 pounds. This is going to be an unbelievable rotation defensive tackle. They're going to overmatch a lot of SEC teams, let alone somebody from the FCS. Yeah,
the Jackrabbits really struggle on the offensive line. They have some upperclassmen, but the just because you're an upperclassman doesn't mean you have talent. And they don't. They're a smaller group. Missouri, big, talented, physical. That's really the strength of their defense is on the defensive line, and it's going to be a long day for Austin Sumner, the quarterback of the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, who's a 6'5", 235-pound quarterback who just can't move around like most guys. He's a statue in the pocket. He can wing the ball if he has time, but he's not going to have time. He's going to get hit a lot. He takes more sacks than the average quarterback, so you're going to see him go down a lot. I think it's going to be a big day for the Mizzou defensive line.
Well, guys, it's a beautiful day here in Columbia, Missouri. Highs around 84 degrees. No rain to be expected. We're here at Shiloh Bar and Grill, just enjoying some of the game day menu here. And as a lot of people here starting to come in, getting that game day atmosphere, we got the Mizzou parents in a tailgate tent outside. What a great atmosphere it is here in Columbia. SEC football, it just adds so much to the element. It adds so much. I mean, in the Big 12, you're playing Iowa State and Texas Tech, in Baylor,
and Kansas.
Great, okay. In the SEC, everything's ramped up. The atmosphere, Missouri's done a great job. The stadium's renovated. Can't wait to get out there and see that. The whole east side has been renovated. A whole new upper deck. Seating capacity is now, over 70,000 here in Columbia. just a great day to be here. A great day to kick off the college football season. Unopposed, as the NFL won't kick off, of course, till next Sunday. But a lot of big-time action going on. Of course, we already saw the SEC Network's debut.
Texas A&M, South Carolina.
Texas A&M with
the old ball coach had a rough go of it.
Texas A&M, how good did they look? Kenny Hill comes up with a 500-yard passing game, breaking Johnny Manziel's single-game passing record.
Very impressive.
Many others in the process. Texas A&M looks to be a force. South Carolina may be underrated. Does that open the door up for Missouri in the East to possibly become the favorite or one of the top two favorites in this
Definitely
division?
The top two with Georgia. Todd Gurley, if he can stay healthy, he's going to blow up. He's going to be amazing this season. But the issue is, can he stay healthy? He's had trouble throughout his career staying healthy, and if he doesn't, then I think Mizzou's the front runner. If Todd Gurley stays healthy all season, it'll be a battle down to the stretch with both of those teams, Mizzou and Georgia. But if he can stay healthy, it's going to be a really good, fun season.
Well, the key is, Missouri is going to get Georgia at home. Missouri's going to have to go to South Carolina, and then South Carolina and Georgia, the result there, that's going to, those three games right there are going to probably determine the division. But I think Missouri has their work cut out for them. Despite having a schedule that is easy by SEC standards, Vanderbilt looks absolutely atrocious. Looks like that Kansas might be able to give them a game. Call me crazy.
They missed James Franklin, fantastic head coach, moved on to Penn State, and they are really missing him now. They could use that leadership and that knowledge.
Yeah, definitely missing that. And Kentucky, we still don't know. Mark Stoops has done a good job of changing the culture down there, but it hasn't produced, any SEC wins yet. They were winless last year. They got to prove themselves this year. Vanderbilt and Kentucky coming to Columbia does not bode well. That looks like two easy wins for Missouri right there.
That it does.
Then you're talking about South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, that stretch right there. And we don't know what Florida's going to have.
Florida's a wild card. You don't know is Jeff Driscoll going to finally get it and click, and how's that defense going to do under Muschamp? Is he going to get them going? They struggled, so they're definitely a wild card. You could see some. You could definitely be surprised and get beat by Florida easily.
Missouri's going to go to the swamp.
Run them over. Yep.
Only Gators get out alive. That's what I hear. Although Missouri did almost win there 2 years ago with basically no offensive line, no quarterback play, no team. Lost 14-7 down there a couple years ago, but
coming in with a strong offensive line, so
yeah, that is a big strength. I tell you what, it is unbelievable to see how the media attention has changed around Missouri. Where a year ago at this time, Missouri was picked 6th in the SEC East, starting to get a little more praise from the media, and it's interesting to see how Missouri lives up to that because Missouri had the AP poll coming in at ranked 24th, right about right for this team, I think. They talk about losing a lot of starters, but what they don't, you're talking about you lose Coney Ely and Michael Sam, but what they don't factor in is that Shane Ray and Marcus Golden are replacing them. That's
something I wanted to ask you about with Shane Ray and Marcus Golden. How much of a drop-off? Michael Sam, Coney Ely, fantastic defensive ends, NFL players. Looks like they're both going to make their teams. Coney Ely with the Panthers, Michael Sam with the Rams. How much of a drop-off is there? Can they just fit right in and give you the exact same production? Is there a little drop-off? What's going on with that defensive end position?
On paper, and according to NFL scouts, Marcus Golden and Shane Ray are better prospects at that specific position than were Ely and Sam. But you got to factor in
Sam, all SEC.
Yeah, it was an all SEC. He was an SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
But factor in that this group played as a unit last year, rotating those four guys created absolute havoc. So now the depth is not quite as good there at the position. Golden and Ray are beasts, no doubt about it. But is there guys that can come in for them? A guy like Marcus Loud. Do they have the depth behind them that make that unit, a feared unit like it was a year ago?
Yeah, Loud and Harris are the backup defensive ends that we mentioned, and we know about the stoutness as defensive tackle and the rotation that they're going to be able to create, and that looks like a good one. Loud and Harris, that'll be interesting.
So it could be a chemistry thing.
Yeah.
They played so well as a group last year. Michael Sam was on fire. A guy like Coney Ely who's had an NFL body, an NFL build, NFL talent. You lose that, is it going to hurt? Yeah, of course. And Missouri's going to have to rely on that front four a lot of times because the secondary's young. You got to like John Gibson. You got to like Arian Pinton. The safeties are solid. Linebacker Gary Pingle says it's the best and most athletic group he's ever had. Coach speak, maybe.
Very well could be.
Is the defense going to have to be the strength of this Missouri team? Because offensively during scrimmages, Matty Mock struggled to complete 50% of passes. The receivers did not quite seem to be in sync. Running game should be there. You got to love Russell Hansbrough and Marcus Murphy and certainly Morgan Stewart if he gets healthy.
Yeah,
What's the strength of the team going to be?
Definitely, I think it's in the trenches. Like we talked about the Jackrabbits, that's where they struggle in the trenches. FCS teams, hard to get big beef talent in there at an FCS level team. So it's definitely going to be in the trenches for Missouri. I like that defensive line. I like the offensive line. And it's going to take a little time for the receivers and the quarterback to get on the same page. And that secondary and the linebackers for Mizzou, there's a few question marks there as to how they're going to do. The defensive line is only as good as the secondary. Same secondary is only as good as their defensive line. The defensive line is going to get pressure, but is the secondary going to be able to cover long enough that the defensive lineman can get there?
And part of it is going to be in the SEC East. Most teams are replacing quarterbacks. How good? We saw South Carolina struggle. Dylan Thompson does not look to be at all like what Connor Shaw was in that position. Jeff Driscoll at Florida was a guy that's mostly a running quarterback. Vanderbilt's a mess. Kentucky is starting a sophomore. Tennessee going back with Worley, a guy that didn't play all that well last year. I mean,
yeah, you got Nick Marshall and Matty Mock look like the two top quarterbacks there.
That's a good point. You talk about the top quarterbacks returning. Nick Marshall, of course, and Matty Mock. He started 4 games, threw for 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Matty Mock's a gunslinger. What's something out of his game that you think he needs to improve on for Missouri to be good? Because I think it comes down to the intermediate passing game and accuracy, because it looked like he's ready to let the ball fly, and that's great, but you've got to be able to work your zones, read the defense, and make good decisions. Can he do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough with gunslingers. You mentioned gunslinger. The name that comes to mind is Brett Favre. And he had to learn early on in his career not to just let it fly. Take the checkdowns. Check what the defense gives you sometimes. You can't always try to fit it into small windows, try to make the big play. You've got to be able to create drives, sustain drives, move the chains, and get your team in the end zone.
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys for joining us here on our YouTube live stream on Google Hangout. The Google Hangout thing's kind of weird. We don't really like Google Plus or any of this. It's just kind of it's an odd format. It takes some getting used to.
That it does.
Hope it's all working well. If not, definitely tweet us or get up send us a message up here and let us know if you can't hear us or anything like that. Hope everything's going great. Hope you guys are up and ready to go on this college football Saturday, enjoying the action from a stadium or in the comfort of your own home, whatever works best for you.
No one watching SEC Network early in the morning. That's what we were doing, getting ready for this. And you all, other than watching this for the next 50 minutes, you should be tuning into SEC Network, watching the games. It's all about college football this weekend, as the NFL doesn't start till next weekend. So we're definitely getting into it, definitely excited. So.
Yeah, guys, buckle up here for Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. We are going to be live from different locations around Missouri, broadcasting live, bringing you the action from different sports bar locations, bars and grills from around Missouri. We'll be back to Kansas City next week. Can't wait for that. But here in Columbia, the atmosphere is just unprecedented. Fans are excited. Should be upwards of 65, maybe 70,000 out there today. So many questions, so many things that will be answered after today. I can't wait. I'll tell you what, going out there, talked about watching it from the comfort of your own home. Well, we will be watching it from the comfort of Furrow Field today. Can't wait to get out there, mingling with the fans, hopefully watching a Missouri win.
Definitely should be a Missouri win. They might be able to keep it close early with the running game, and Zach Zenner, if he's able to have some production, it's going to be tough finding holes with the Mizzou defensive line bearing down on him, but he's a very talented running back. He can do it against anyone. He's got the talent. He's got the beef, the athleticism, so it'll be interesting to see what Zach Zenner can do and how long he can keep him in the game before it gets to be too much.
Well, guys, if you're not watching the game, if you're not going to the game, and you're in Columbia, come on in to Shiloh to watch it. What an atmosphere it is here. You can see behind us we got some huge flat screens all around. The atmosphere is great. We've got a great game day menu here that we just took a sample of. I mean,
yeah, we were here at Shiloh last night. The place was hot.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Standing room only.
I was
going
to leave that part out, but we are on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored, so we can talk about our trip to Shiloh here last night, which there were dollar drinks. I'm just throwing that out there.
Dollar drinks. You figure out the rest. So
Sprite was one of them. I don't know, but what a great place. Come out and watch the game, guys. The ribs here, best in Columbia. Come grab the ribs if you're not going to be at the game today. So many things going to be answered. We've talked about it. Feet to the fire. Who wins the SEC East? Who wins the West? Who's playing in Atlanta in December?
It's tough between Missouri and Georgia to choose, but I'm going to have to go with Missouri. I don't think Todd Gurley can stay healthy. He hasn't shown it. Keith Marshall's coming off an injury, just as Todd Gurley is. I'm not sure that they can stay healthy. I'm not sure what to expect out of Hudson Mason, the quarterback. I'm just not sure. The receiver, Mitchell's not healthy for Georgia. So I think it's going to be a fight to the end. I don't think Missouri's going to walk away with it under any means necessary. They're going to take a little time to get their feet wet, get their feet under them, figure out the receiving core and the secondary, and get comfortable with each other. But I think at the end of the day, Missouri will come out on top.
Yeah, and when we did on our website, guys, and get on GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com for all the latest news and all things sports related, heavy emphasis on covering Mizzou football, SEC football, certainly NFL. But on our site, when we did our predictions, I had Missouri at 9-3, finishing third in the SEC East. Do I have the right to change my mind after watching South Carolina? You bet I do.
You better change your mind after watching South Carolina.
Because after that, I see South Carolina in some trouble. Defensively, you give up 52 points and 500 yards to a first-time starting quarterback. No, not going to work. They're already down a game in the SEC. I think the game may come down to Missouri and Georgia, whoever wins that game in Columbia. And you got to like Missouri's chances. Missouri was able to go on the road and beat Georgia last year, despite the fact they had a lot of injuries. They still had Aaron Murray at quarterback, and he was one of the greatest in SEC history at that position. Now a member of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
Hoping he finds his way onto the field at some point there.
Yep, get Alex Smith out of there, Aaron Murray in there. Let's get him rolling and set some NFL records after he set some NCAA records.
And Hudson Mason starting, interesting point about him. He's been Murray's backup for 4 years. He's a fifth-year senior. He finally gets his chance. A lot of people going, well, that's great. He's waited for his time. But the truth of it is, he wasn't as good as Aaron Murray, obviously, to beat him out. So it means you're going to have a drop-off at that position, at least a little bit.
Yeah, there's stories out there that he thought about transferring at times throughout his career at Georgia, but he stuck around. Now's his chance. Can he make the most of it? We'll find it out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in the SECs, is there a team that could come out of nowhere like Missouri did last year, like Auburn did last year in the West? Is there a Tennessee out there that's sort of laying in the wings? I mean, you got to like what Coach Bush. I think he's a really good coach. The talent's coming in, but when it comes to Tennessee, we haven't seen it on the field.
I don't think you're going to see a team come out of nowhere. I think it's going to be between Georgia and Missouri. Can South Carolina get back on track? It really doesn't look like it. I know it's only one.
They can.
It's only one game, but they really looked lost on defense, and I don't know how fast they can get that going and figure it out to compete with Missouri and Georgia and those high-flying offenses with Gurley and Matty Mock. So,
well, guys, thanks for joining us here on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. Definitely share the link. Get your buddies on. We want to interact with all you fans on here. It's great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you guys are ready for a big-time Saturday of college football and a 3-day weekend. Don't go to the lake. Watch football. Family time. There's time for that 10 years from now.
Yeah, you can do that anytime. This is college football weekend, the one weekend where the NFL is not playing. College football is playing. You get all college football action, all the news, all the rumors, all the stats, all the games. It's great.
Well, College Game Day, not that Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler, Desmond Howard not that they have anything on us here at Gridiron Game Day Uncensored. They were in
that
Houston.
rinky-dink show.
They were down in taking in the Oklahoma State game in Dallas, taking on Oklahoma State, Florida State. Interesting matchup. The Big 12, I don't think is going to be a very good conference this year. Got to like Florida State. A lot of people like them to repeat, definitely get to the college football playoff. That's going to be a bloodbath. I like Jameis Winston and Florida State to take it to Oklahoma State.
Well, yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State, some people think they have a shot at this game, a long shot, but they only returned 5 starters from last year. 5. I mean, well, the chemistry and what can you expect from them? Meanwhile, Florida State has 9 seniors on offense.
They lost a lot of They lost a lot of defensive talent to the NFL. Oklahoma State, a lot of people have them finishing somewhere, 3rd, 4th, 5th in the Big 12. Florida State's a national title contender. Jameis Winston, as long as there's no crab legs involved, should be able to get through this game unscathed and with a win. Florida State. And you talk about other big games. West Virginia, Alabama. Not a big game. I don't like what West Virginia has. They lost to Kansas last year. I've written them off already, my friend.
Yeah, you got T.J. Yeldon, Amari Cooper, Blake Sims. They named him as the starting quarterback at Alabama. So There's way too much firepower. West Virginia's way too bad. So it's definitely going to be a blowout. Alabama will get their feet wet a little bit, get to hit somebody, and move on to the next game. Maybe Nick Saban will be watching film on the sideline of the next teams coming up.
Yeah.
Some of the SEC competition as he muddles his way through watching them just manhandle West Virginia.
LSU, Wisconsin. Game's being played in Houston. Going to be a home game for the Bayou Bengals. Les Miles, never won less than 10 games while at LSU. It's unbelievable. Is this year, they're breaking a new quarterback in Jennings, is this year that a team like Wisconsin could knock off LSU because historically, especially in the last decade, the SEC lays the hammer down on the Big Ten. Does that happen again today?
I mean, they lose Zach Mettenberger at quarterback. They lose Jeremy Hill, their running back. They lose Odell Beckham, their star wide receiver. But no, Les Miles will have them ready. He's still got tons of talent, always bringing in new talent.
How about
at
this
LSU.
Fournette kid?
Leonard Fournette.
Oh, my gosh.
Best running back recruit in the nation.
Yeah, that's going to be insane.
I mean,
comparisons to Adrian Peterson, I'm not a comparison guy, but that's pretty lofty.
That is pretty lofty. You still got a lot to prove. I'm not really into the early hype before he's played a game in college football, but it'll be interesting to see, interesting to watch. You like watching the hype, but believing in it and saying he's going to be Adrian Peterson from day one or ever get to that kind of status is a little lofty.
How about Auburn and Arkansas, another SEC conference game, week 1, and that's how we do it here in the Southeastern Conference. We're playing conference football out of the gate, and Arkansas is going to be the sacrificial hog in this situation. With the apple in the mouth, Auburn rolls today.
Auburn does roll. Nick Marshall, you got Sammy Coates coming back, Ricardo Lewis coming back at the wide receiver positions. They do lose Trey Mason, but they've got Cameron Artis-Payne, Corey Grant at the running back position, who were there last year. They worked in the rotation. They'll be fine. Maybe not as dynamic without a Trey Mason, fantastic college player, doing well with the Rams right now, but they're going to roll. Arkansas has some good running backs, Jonathan Williams, Alex Collins, but other than that, they're not going. They have a bad offensive line, so you've got 3 good running backs. That's all well and good, but if there's no holes and they're getting crushed every play, you can have the best running back in the world. It's not going to matter.
Odd story out of Fayetteville this week. Actually, quarterback Brandon Allen, who really struggled as a first-year starter last year as Arkansas went winless. His truck was set on fire, believed to be by some Arkansas fans. That is just.
I think Tyler Wilson was in there setting it on fire. He doesn't like the guy taking over for him. Ending the good name for Arkansas quarterbacks after Mallett and Tyler Wilson.
Brett Bielema is a good coach. He did so many good things while at Wisconsin. But man, Arkansas is in for an uphill climb. And this is a program under Bobby Petrino that was winning 10, 11 games. They got an uphill battle. Arkansas is not. They may not win a game this year. Look at their schedule. I mean, not only do you have to play the West, but they got to play Missouri out of the East.
Yeah, I think Arkansas, Brett Bielema is trying to change the culture, change the style of play there. He's trying to get a more physical, hard-nosed team, running team like he had in Wisconsin, Big Ten. So I think there's a huge change over that going on there, and it's just going to take some time if he has the time. In college football and athletics these days, you don't have a lot of time to get your feet wet and put a new system in and grow new players, and it's just going to be a rough season, and it'll be interesting to see how much rope they give him.
I hope there's no Arkansas fans watching. If so, it's not going to be good. It's going to be rough.
No, you're going to have a horrible season. It's going to be tough to watch. So
they don't know this yet, by the way. I'm just telling you, over at Hogville, they don't know this yet.
Well, they'll find out soon enough.
Are you okay
football starts today,
breaking it
so
to them?
I'm fine with breaking it to them. It's couple hours till they get their hearts broken and figure it out for themselves. So
Auburn, they're going to have to get by without Nick Marshall for a little bit. The token little suspension. We'll see how long he actually sits out in the game. Probably not long.
I'll allow Johnny Manziel versus Rice.
Yeah, quarter.
Sat out a good quarter.
Couple drives. Man, thank you guys again so much for joining us here on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. We're on the Great American Sports Network exclusively. And that's our website, GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com. All sorts of shows. In fact, last night, for our Friday Night Spotlight, we were able to highlight a big-time Mizzou recruit. That's Drew Lock, the quarterback from Lee Summit, playing at Columbia Hickman. Noah, we made it a weekend of it here in Columbia, and Drew Lock did not disappoint.
No, he didn't. They got down early 17-0, and we're like, what is going on? Where's Drew, and what's this defense doing? They're having another rough game, but midway through the second quarter, they really found their stride, woke up. It was a long trip to Columbia. over an hour-and-a-half trip to Columbia that they had to be on the bus for. So it looked like they were sleepwalking through the first quarter. Coach got into them, Drew told us, and that really woke them up, and they did come up. And that defense started making stops throughout the rest of the game. Drew Lock found his stride. Lots of bubble screens, a lot of throwing across his body, perfect passes. I mean, Drew's great at that. I don't know if he practices that or if it's just an innate ability, but he's got the touch. He'll soon be in Columbia making those plays.
Is he the next big thing in Columbia? You know, with Matty Mock still 3 years left of eligibility, it may be his redshirt sophomore year until he gets a chance. But is Locke the man coming in here to Columbia here in the next few years?
I really think he is. I really like what I've seen from Drew Lock, and it'll be interesting to see how far ahead Eddie Prince is when Drew Lock steps on campus, and how fast Drew Lock can develop and possibly get ahead of an Eddie Prince. And I doubt he's going to ever supplant Matty Mock while he's here. Matty Mock will have to move on to greater endeavors in the National Football League, hopefully. But then Drew Lock can take over, and I think he'll do some fantastic things. And I think he will develop and beat out an Eddie Prince.
Well, here we are at Shiloh Bar and Grill, right here on Broadway Street, downtown Columbia. Couldn't ask for more. If you could find somewhere to park, that is. You know, there's certain things in life that just kind of get to me. Parking meters, throw pillows, and chunks of tomatoes and food. That's 3 of them. Does that jive with you at all? Any of those?
Yeah,
problems?
Parking meters are great, especially when you don't have change and you're trying to get parked somewhere. So you just drive around until you find somewhere that might be illegal. You're not sure.
No,
and
never
you just
sure.
pull in and hope for the best.
Always ambiguous signs.
Always hoping for the best.
Well, our car's parked out here on Broadway Street, hoping everything's great. Thanks to Tom, here the owner at Shiloh, for hooking us up with some free lunch here today. Could not thank them enough. Shiloh's been a great host. Starting to fill up here. Everybody's really excited. Tiger Game Day is going on. People stopping in, maybe people like us without parking passes, stopping in for a pregame meal and drink, because they're going to have to park a mile and a half away from the stadium like us.
Yes, and make that treacherous walk.
Yes.
A mile and a half, and getting...
Did you bring your sunscreen?
I did not. I will be a lobster. Luckily, we are walking after. We will not be doing a live show after.
Right.
I would be melting on screen, and that is not a sight that anyone would want to see. So.
Well, we thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm assuming... some of our viewers, we want to say hi. Donna Matthews, Daniel Doty, we know you guys are watching, and we want to thank you.
Hi. Gary Pinkel.
Joe Montana, thank you so much for joining. Guys, it's such a pleasure, and we look forward to doing this every weekend. It may not always be on a Saturday, because there's going to be times where the Missouri's going to play at 11 a.m., and we're not getting up at 8 to do the show.
Nope, got to get up early to go out to Columbia and do the show, or got to get up at 10 and watch the show. It's going to be hard to find a place open at 8, a bar and grill, and get in there and set up and do our live show. So it may have to be Friday night. We'll get you everything covered and send it right out to you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's our website's the Great American Sports Network, and it's been such a pleasure to we launched this site over the summer, and it's been great. You know, we cover recruiting, everything from recruiting, Major League Baseball, to entertainment. Noah, music. I know it's your thing.
Yes, music.
We've got to hook up on that.
Movies and TV. We got actors coming on all the time. Great stuff. And some wrestling, former pro wrestling. We love to get into that. Current pro wrestling, not so much. Former pro wrestling, we definitely get into. Get some former wrestlers on for you. So that's always fun to do.
There's so much going on, and we appreciate you being here. We're about halfway through our show here. It is 11:30 Central, and it means at 12 we're going to have to sign off and head towards the stadium for a 2:30 kick, Missouri and South Dakota State on ESPNU. If this game's in the Big 12, Noah, pay-per-view only. God bless the SEC. God bless the SEC Network. I'm going to get a tattoo. That's all there is to it.
Yes, SEC Network right here on the opposite arm of the Great American Sports Network. We've already got that tattoo drawn up, and we're going to get that pretty soon, getting going. So,
well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see. All the talk, all the questions are going to be answered, at least initially, because what can you really take from these type of games? Missouri and South Dakota State, Kansas State playing a team like Stephen F. Austin. You know, it goes on all over college football. What can you take away from it? You just expect, well, it better be a blowout or we have problems, or is it just it's week one for everyone, just like it is for us? We're struggling.
Yeah, but if you do have a blowout in the game, you can at least go away with fewer questions and fewer questions towards what's going on with what's going to go on when SEC play arises. If you struggle or it's a close game or something, then you have a lot of questions. How are we going to do when Georgia is going to be a down season? Are we going to really struggle when we face tougher competition? So
well, that's kind of what happened to South Carolina. They were the SEC East favorites. They played one game and just see ya.
They needed that FCS opponent out there. I don't know. The Texas A&M game right off the bat was apparently not a good decision that was made.
Those are tough.
Yeah, those are tough.
Missouri found that out 2 years ago playing Georgia in week 2.
They were hoping Johnny Manziel's gone. We will roll, although we lost Jadeveon Clowney, but we will roll without Manziel there. But they were a little mistaken after getting blown out.
Does Kevin Sumlin get enough credit? He has totally taken over the state of Texas. Hook 'em horns? It's about the Texas A&M Aggies. That stadium's going over 100,000 capacity. The recruiting, the momentum, Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel. A&M is a big-time program. And the SEC old-school guard wanted to bury the Aggies after Manziel left, said, well, Manziel's gone, that's it for them.
No, Kevin Sumlin recruits. Kevin Sumlin has his guys ready. And I don't think he does get enough credit. I think it was all, it's just Johnny. Johnny's making great plays. Johnny's the best player, Heisman Trophy winner. Kevin Sumlin's just resting on Johnny Manziel's shoulders. But he's shown that, no, I can find him anywhere. It's not just I hit a home run with Johnny Manziel. I can find him anywhere. And I'm a great coach, and I'm going to get my entire team ready. It's not just about one player and Johnny Manziel. And he has taken over the state of Texas. Texas had no players drafted in the NFL. And Texas A&M, I don't know if Texas will ever regain stride. It's a great program.
Sure.
It has been for years. You'd think that somehow it's going to turn around and they're going to build back up again. But right now, Texas A&M is rolling, and they're not looking back, and they're not going to let Texas gain any ground if possible.
Where do you see the Big 12 at? Because, there were some questions with Missouri entering the SEC 2 years ago. I think most of those questions, those have been qualmed. Missouri won the SEC East last year. The fan support's never been higher. The donations have never come in at a larger rate. Stadium's been expanded. The money with the SEC network, Missouri did the right thing. The Big 12, it's a sinking ship. It still is. What do they have?
They have Oklahoma this year, and
Oklahoma looks good.
Yeah, and that's about it. But it just goes from team to team. I don't see a team that's going to be dominant and know they're going to be in the top 5 every year. That's what they expect. It's just, hey, we got a good team this year, so we're going to go for it, and maybe next year we're going to take a drop off. And that's kind of how it is in the Big 12. No real powerhouse every single year like in Alabama and Georgia and Auburn, like teams in the SEC. They stay strong year in and year out with the recruiting.
Point.
So.
Yeah, they do, and you would expect a school like Texas to be up there. They need to be for the Big 12 to be good. Texas has to be good. But you know what? That Longhorn network of theirs crippled that conference. It cut the legs out of the rest of the teams and said, we don't need a Big 12 network. We just got a Longhorn network down here on the buckle.
Yeah, and everyone said, okay, well, we're out of here. So good luck with what's left, and your team's horrible. So congratulations.
That's pretty much what happened. And Texas, with Charlie Strong, who I think is a good coach, implementing a lot of rules, implementing a lot of social media type rules, sitting in the front row of classes type rules. Who goes to class? We do too much learning in them schools.
Yeah, it needs to be all about how to get this team better, how to get these players better, how to win games. And if you're making kids go to class and sit in the front row and learn and be scolded if they're not paying attention, that's not going to help them on the football field. You can say sit in the back row, watch film, study your playbook. Don't pay attention in class. I'll get you some easy courses. I'll get you some teachers that'll give you some easy grades because we need to get better on the football field, guys.
You betcha. And, hey, let's go to some questions from our Twitter account, which is at GA Sports Network. That stands for Great American.
Yes, not
GA
Georgia.
Sports Network.
Not Georgia. No. Great American Sports Network.
Question from our Twitter page. Who wins more games, Kansas or Arkansas? Who would have thought it would ever come to that?
Wow.
Good question.
That's a very good question. I mean, that's so hard because I feel like Arkansas is the better team, but they're in the SEC.
Right.
I'm going to go Arkansas.
It'll be
tough
close.
to say. It will be. I'm going to go
close.
Arkansas. They have the 3 good running backs. Brett Bielema's a great coach. I know they don't have much else, but I'm resting on those 4 things. 3 great running backs and Brett Bielema over Charlie Weiss and no good players.
Is there any adjective that you'd use to describe Charlie Weiss other than bumbling idiot, buffoon?
In need of Tom Brady.
That
Without
pretty good.
Tom Brady, he is just a lost child in a mall.
Which has been me. I got lost in the Mall of America when I was 7 years old, so I know how that feels.
Yes.
My mom was not
They're
waiting for
calling
me
over-
off the roller coaster.
He has gone to the front desk. He's gone to customer service. He's on the phone, and they're trying to reach Tom Brady to come find Charlie Weiss.
It's a disaster. Is there a worse program in FBS than Kansas?
I don't think so. I
I mean,
mean,
Colorado's been bad.
Colorado
There's been a
has
lot
been
of bad
bad.
ones, but Kansas
Kansas
conference
is-
win since 2009.
Kansas is epically bad. There are
Right.
some bad programs and they've had some down years, and West Virginia is really struggling right now. And you mentioned Colorado, but Kansas really takes the cake on that. They're really, really bad.
It's really bad. Okay, another question for our Twitter page. What can we expect numbers-wise for Matty Mock? Touchdowns, interceptions, touchdowns and yards, passing to interceptions. Let's hear it.
Ooh, that's going to be tough. I think he goes over 4,000.
Ooh, wow.
I think he does. I think they're going to let it air out. I think he goes over 4,000.
I'm going to keep it a little more tipper. I'm going to say 3,300 with around 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions or so. I mean,
I like the
hit-
touchdowns to interception ratio. I like that.
that's not about
They're
right.
going to have some good screen game. I think he's a really good quarterback. He showed a lot last year with the 11 touchdown, 1 interception ratio. I think he's going to keep that going, and I really do see 4,000 yards. I like the passing game to get going. I think they're going to get their feet wet, figure it out, and I think people are selling this receiving corps short. I think there's some talent there with Sasser and Hunt and White and Jamal Moore. I think he'll get going as the season goes. A big physical receiver. I really like the Mizzou offense to get going. I know some people are kind of questioning about it and wondering how that's going to go. I think it's going to go well. So,
my favorite question from the Twitter page: which SEC school has the best talent? And by best talent, I mean cutest women. I'm just.
I've been picking Mizzou a lot, but I think I'm going to have to go opposite. And the other team that's going to challenge for the SEC East, I'm going to go Georgia. Georgia has some fantastic talent. We've seen that.
We have SEC block party.
Yes, the block parties. There are some Georgia women there that are. The talent is there's a plethora of talent.
How would you rate it?
The
Okay,
Georgia
if
Bulldogs.
we're going on stars, like the star recruiting system, Georgia's got 5-star talent. Where would you rate Missouri's? We were at Shiloh last night. How's the talent at Missouri?
I'd say it's close. I'd say 4-star.
That's wow. Up there.
I mean, Shiloh was hopping last night, and there was some fantastic talent there.
So our answer is going to be Georgia, and Athens, Georgia is the best talent, female talent that is, in the SEC.
yes.
And that's a good distinction to have. I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't win the SEC East, if they come up second or third, they at least have that to fall back on.
Great. And
The Great American Sports Network gave us 5 stars on our talent.
Okay,
The female
last
talent.
question from the Twitter page. Everybody knows out there that we are big-time stadium crashers, meaning we find a football stadium and we crash it. We get in somehow. Now, question is, which SEC stadium would you most like to crash? And having crashed a few myself, I think the best crash you could pull off, I think the one I might choose LSU Tiger Stadium at Death Valley in Baton Rouge. If I could crash one.
If I could crash one, I might have to go to the Swamp,
Nice.
Florida. I might have to do that.
What would you do?
Orange is my favorite color, and I love that stadium. I love the Swamp. I love that. I definitely have to crash the Swamp.
Well, that's it. Maybe we'll get our chance someday to crash all of them. Stadium crashers.
All 14.
Coming to SEC Network, maybe like one a day for 14 days. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm an idea guy. And speaking of ideas, we're here at Shiloh Bar and Grill. It is starting to fill up here. People coming by for an early lunch, getting ready for the day. Love the atmosphere. Love it. Guys, come in and watch the game. If you're not going to Faroe Field, which you should be there if you're in Columbia. Like, I don't have a clue why you wouldn't.
I don't know why. But
no birthday parties. No trips to the antique store.
No baby showers.
Football.
Yes.
And come on
Football,
into
only
Shiloh
football.
if you're not going to be at Faroe Field, because you can see it right here. We got a huge plasma screen TV for your viewing pleasure. We got several more throughout this place. We got an outdoor patio. We got live music going on. It is just like, I'm just expecting a live band to start busting out Jim Blossom's covers any moment now.
Yes.
I'm immersed in it. I love it.
Huge tent, great menu,
and that's
great
one thing.
drinks. I mean, it's just a fantastic place. You definitely got to be at Shiloh if you're not at the game, or come before or after. I mean, it's always a place to hit up.
The NFL is second to none. I love the National Football League, more than anything in the world. But that's one thing that the NFL lacks is atmosphere, pageantry, and tradition. And that's one thing that college football has in these towns. A lot of them. Missouri opened in 1869. I mean, this is so much history. A lot of schools have that same kind of rich history. They all have their favorite spots to go to, like Shiloh, to come in before the game, to come afterwards, to drink. It's a party atmosphere. It feels so big. The SEC is the epitome of that, and we are here in the thick of it here at Shiloh. Could not be more excited.
That it is. You mentioned the NFL, and you're right. They don't have many. I can think of Green Bay, Lambeau Field,
sure.
Arrowhead Stadium. Philadelphia's got some great places to go eat before and after the game. They've got a great fan base. But other than those three, there's probably a few more out there, but I mean, Oakland, I don't know if you really want to be out there in Oakland.
I don't.
You
Thanks
don't.
for asking.
So, I mean, the atmosphere is lacking in the NFL. The SEC has it all over the SEC, all 14 teams, great atmospheres, great pageantry, the history you mentioned.
Yeah.
So college football, and definitely the SEC is where you want to go for that.
It is, and it just seems to me like you turn on the SEC network Thursday night to watch A&M in South Carolina, it felt like a main event. It felt like you're turning on, and watching Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather fight at MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Ali Frazier.
It just feels like it feels like a big event atmosphere. Guys, football attendance is down in the NFL, college football, not in the SEC. Stadiums are expanding. Mizzou's expanded. Ole Miss has expanded. LSU's gone over 100,000. Alabama's over 100,000. Just massive stadiums. People are filling them up. The SEC has that over just about everywhere else because the home experience is so wonderful to watch football in these days when you have flat, you got your own food at home, you got your own bathroom you don't have to wait in line to go to.
Flat screen TV, air conditioning.
It's a competition for the live sporting event, I believe.
Oh, it is, and you've got fantasy football. You want to check your stats on the computer, and you've got game day rewinds, and you can draw up plays while you're watching and rewind plays if you missed it and see it again. And there's just a lot going on at home, so it is a competition. But the SEC has figured it out, and they've knocked that competition away. And people are going to the stadium. They're going for the atmosphere, and they're going to be a part of something.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing college football does have, is it has more of a sense of belonging. In the NFL, you watch players, you watch certain teams. Everyone's got their favorite team, but it's not always the team that's in the state or the city that you live in. You see that a lot in the NFL. Well, I live in Kansas City. How many Broncos and Cowboys and random fans are there in Kansas City? It's insane.
Yeah, and you've got the crazy college kids that are there. They go to the school. They go out. They go out to the game for the experience. You don't really have that in the NFL. You have. They don't feel as attached to it as they are to a university.
Right.
And they're right there. They're in it every day, and that's their school, and they're going. So.
Yeah, and that is a difference. That is a big difference, and we can't wait for the NFL to kick off. We still got about 17 minutes left, guys, before we're going to sign off. Thanks for staying with us. NFL next week gets on. We're from Kansas City. We know there's a lot of Rams fans here, a lot of Chiefs fans here, probably a lot of Ravens and I don't know who's good, New England and
sure, a lot of new Rams fans with T.J. Moe and Michael Sam and E.J. Gaines.
How about that? Yeah, a lot of Missouri players going to be representing the Rams, but
not sure T.J. Moe will make the team, but Michael Sam, E.J. Gaines should. So.
Moe did get cut the other day.
Yep.
And what about Sam Bradford? Tough blow for him.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this guy can't stay healthy. You think maybe if he could, he's shown some promise here and there. If he could stay healthy for all 16 games, maybe he could be a starting quarterback and be a franchise guy and lead the Rams to playoff berth. But with that injury, he's going to be out the entire season, and it looks like he'll be moving on to backup duty and a journeyman around the NFL to see if he can regain a starting job somewhere. Now it's Sean Hill's job, and he's moved around the NFL from the 49ers to the Lions and now to the St. Louis Rams.
Guys, we're going to be doing a lot of NFL on our next Gridiron Gameday Uncensored next weekend. But before we get off the National Football League, Kansas City Chiefs, offensive line's a disaster, quarterback is average, secondary looks terrible. Record, give us a prediction.
It's going to be tough, especially because I think we could lose that first game against
the
Tennessee
Titans. It's
Titans.
over.
Donald Stevenson and Dwayne Bowe not playing in that game Eric Berry sat out all preseason, or most of preseason, last 3 games, I believe, with an injury. So he's going to come back. Is he going to be rusty? And it's going to take a little time for him to get comfortable in that defense. And the defense really played horrible the last stretch of the season, last 8 games, going into the playoffs, so 9 games. And it's going to be interesting to see how that defense comes together and if they're horrible again right out of the gates. And what's Alex Smith going to do other than give the ball to Jamal Charles, throw it to him? With Dwayne Bowe being out, we have no receivers. The offensive line, he's going to be under duress the entire game. So if we lose that game, you're right, it could be looking at a very ugly record, but I'm going to go 7-9.
Yeah, 7-9 sounds about right. And guys, before we get off the air to go flirt with some of these lovely Shiloh girls, we got to get a.
I might just leave you here now, and I'll be right back. Yeah.
What about? he didn't go. I don't know. Guys, here today, 2:30 ESPNU, Missouri and South Dakota State. Score predictions for that, because I believe the spread is only 24.5 points. Can Missouri cover that? And Gary Pinkel's not a guy that likes to really lay the hammer down on teams and really demoralize them. But I see this as about a 52-10 type game. I mean, Missouri should be playing a lot of backups in the second half.
I've got 44-19. I think they're going to get in range. I just don't think they're going to be able to punch it in that often. They're going to get 1 touchdown and then a bunch of field goals. Zach Zenner, I think, will break off a few runs here and there. He's just too good of a running back not to, I think. I know Missouri's got their stout up front and they're a good defense, and this is an FCS team, but Zach Zenner is no joke. So he'll get them in field goal range. They won't be able to punch it in, but they'll get some field goals. But I think Mizzou's going to roll on that defense. So
thanks for everyone for watching here on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. We want your feedback. Things we could do to improve. Can you not hear us? Do we look ugly on camera?
There's nothing we can do about. I mean,
there's something.
Donations, plastic surgery.
Let us know.
Fund me, plastic surgery.
Let us know, guys, what we can do to improve Gridiron Gameday Uncensored here. It's our YouTube live stream. It's our Google Plus Hangout. Thank you guys so much. It's been such a pleasure to come out here and talk football. Week 1. I can't believe football's here. We're back.
I know it's been too long. We've been drudging through this baseball season, just being dragged through the mud and the muck of baseball season. Is ball 1.
Oh man, we just lost a bunch of viewers after you said that.
I just said baseball. I knew it. That's my bad.
Guys, Shiloh's the place to be, and we can't wait to come back and do a show here again at Shiloh, because this is the place to be if you're in Columbia on a game day. This is just an unbelievable atmosphere. It's starting to fill up here. People coming in for their last minute lunch and
come
drink
before,
options.
Go out to the game
I don't
if
know
you can.
I don't know if the drinks are still $1, but I don't know. It should be.
Yes, it should. Oh, that was amazing last night. $1 drinks, 4-star talent according to me. So
4-star talent, and guys, it's all over here. Cannot be more excited to be joining you for Gridiron Gameday Uncensored.
Thank you to all the viewers. I mean, we've had so many today.
Yeah, it's been great, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we have many more shows coming up here as the football season comes on. We have a lot going on at the Great American Sports Network. Go check out our website, greatamericansportsnetwork.com, and we're bringing you daily updates, rumors,
everything going.
It's all there.
And like we said, we've got that Friday night spotlight show. We've done Drew Lock twice. We're definitely going to get out to see Winnetauka's Doherty, the running back. So he's got Mizzou in his top 5. He could be committing to Mizzou. So we're definitely going to follow around the top high school prospects in Missouri and give you the down low on all them, give you their highlights, try and get some interviews with them. We've had interviews with Drew Lock, and hopefully we get some more Mizzou commits and follow them around and give you some inside info on all those.
Guys, we got about 10 minutes left before we're going to have to say goodbye. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Google Hangout.
Yes.
I wish more people had webcams so we could see your shining faces.
Yes, get you in here and get some questions. We got some great questions out of Twitter, on our Facebook page. People were sending us messages, and in our email we got some messages on how the show's going, and people seem to enjoy it. We definitely want to hear from you on what you thought, to you viewers who haven't reached out to us yet. So send us in your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. So
we have thick
love
skin, so anything that you have to say, we can take it, and we'll make it better. Because that's at the Great American Sports Network. You're going to see a lot from us. Our show, we have several shows that are exclusive on the GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com, all for free. Inside recruiting info, you want it? We got it for free.
Yep, we're building a set. We've got the table. We've got the walls up. That's going to be coming soon. That's exciting. So a lot more video and a little less podcasting, just voices. So you'll get to see a lot more of us.
Nobody likes to hear people talk.
I know, talking for 17 minutes. I'm out of here.
How about an hour of us?
But you get video. And you get
So
this nice
much more.
banner at the bottom, which I misspelled uncensored at the beginning with UNSENSORED, which was amazing, and I went in to change that. So
Yeah.
probably lost some viewers at the beginning because of that. So
Well, I think we got them back. They're all back. Everything's
Yes, they
good
are
to go.
back.
And we appreciate you coming to our website, Great American Sports Network. To get to the link, you had to have come to the website, so we appreciate it. Check out
Yeah,
the rest
go
of our stuff.
around,
We
look
got a bunch of
around.
interviews, bunch of archived content. We are just so excited for football season because the rest of the year I'm just not the same person.
I'm not.
I try to-
Basketball kind of gets me through it. Kind of.
Sure it does.
It's
But,
not the same. It gets me
we
through
try to
it.
do dumb things in the off season, like date women. Horrible decisions. Horrible ideas.
Yes, and when basketball season's over, we'll really get into our entertainment section we mentioned with our Screen Squad, where we interview actors from TV shows and movies and former pro wrestlers for our wrestling show, No Holds Barred Wrestling.
Absolutely.
And Music Mania, we get a lot of musicians on. Ryan Roxy, you've gone to see them many times backstage, interviews. It's been amazing. So
Yeah, it really has. And we couldn't be more thankful of people like you coming on to check us out.
yeah, it's all for the fans. If not for you, we wouldn't be here doing this. We wouldn't have our website. We've slowly grown.
We wouldn't have got this free lunch at Shiloh.
Yeah, we started out as a podcast, and because of the viewers and listeners and our fans and the interaction and you guys following us around, we've been able to do this, and we enjoy it, and we enjoy bringing you the information and the guests and just everything that we can for you.
Well, hey, as we're about to wrap up here, only about 7 or 8 minutes left. Some more keys, I think, to the season as we go back to Missouri. Might as well end on a Mizzou note. Keys to this season. What's your number one key to Missouri winning the East? What has to happen for this team to win the East?
Like I said, I think they're really strong in the trenches, so I think they've got that down. It's going to be the passing game, which I said I think Matty Mock and the receivers are going to figure out. But even more so, I think the key is going to be that defense, that secondary and the linebackers. We know they have a strong defensive line, but if receivers are able to get open and running backs are running wild quickly, it's going to be tough for that defensive line to get pressure if the ball's coming out in 2-3 seconds. So if the secondary can start locking down, it all works together. So if they can come together, that secondary and linebackers lift their game up to the defensive line, I think that's the key. And if they can do that, I think they win the SEC East over Georgia.
Yeah, and there are some questions, and we're going to have to see how this unproven, I almost said young, but this receiving core is not young. 3 senior starters in White, Hunt, and Sasser. Now, a guy like Darius White was the #1 high school receiving prospect in the nation a few years ago, went to Texas. He's at Mizzou now with as a senior, his last chance to shine in this offense, and you got to love having a guy like Matty Mock throwing you the football to give you that chance to shine. Bud Sasser, Jimmy Hunt, they have proven themselves, even though they were behind guys like LaDamian Washington, Marcus Lucas, Dorial Green Beckham. They proved themselves over the last couple of years.
Definitely.
In fact, if not for Jimmy Hunt, who returned a kick return for a touchdown 2 years ago at Tennessee, Missouri loses that game, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Jimmy Hunt has big playability. He's the guy that they could stretch the field. Sasser more of a possession-type guy, good route runner, good hands. I think Bud Sasser, if you had to put a gun to my head, leads the team in receptions when it's all said and done.
I agree with that. And you mentioned kick returner. Ian Simon is going to be the kick
interesting
returner,
choice.
starting free safety. It is an interesting choice when you've got a Marcus Murphy who's shown explosion in that area.
He has.
So.
He had some fumbling issues a year ago, and they've been working him out a receiver, slot receiver, and running back.
Maybe they felt that was just too much on his plate, so they took that away from him, and Simon's shown stuff. So in the spring, so they're going to give him the first opportunity come this game and see what he has.
I'll tell you what I've given up on questioning what this staff is doing. Gary Pinkel and this staff, offensive coordinator Josh Henson, defensive coordinator Dave
question
Steckel.
everything.
I can't. After the things they've done through these years, building Missouri into the program they are now, I leave it to them. They talk about recruiting. Missouri every year finishes, 25th, 30th ranked in recruiting. Look at the players they've produced in the NFL. Top 10 in NFL produced talent since 2007. Top 10 in wins and top 10 in academic progress and academic and graduation rates. That's one Mizzou. That's the Mizzou way. That's Mizzou made, and this is a program to be reckoned with.
Yeah, we've heard Gary Pingle say that they don't look at the stars much.
Yeah.
So when you see a 2-star, 3-star, you're like, oh, we didn't get the 4 or 5-star. But he says that he looks more for fit in their system, and it's not about the stars for them. And
It's worked.
Yeah, and it's worked. If you say that and you've got a bunch of busts, then it's like, well, maybe you should go with the stars then. But no, it's worked for Missouri, and they've gotten the players that maybe aren't the 4 or 5-star blue chip caliber guys, but it's worked for them. They fit in the system, and they've produced to great expectations. They've raised the level of their games and have been great players for Mizzou, and now they're heading on to the NFL. So.
Yeah, 2-star players. Ziggy Hood, Sean Witherspoon, Denario Alexander. Those were 2-star players, guys. Michael Agnew.
Yeah.
2-star players. Sean Witherspoon came to Missouri as a receiver. Martin Rucker was 190 pounds when he got here.
Yeah, now the Falcons. Sean Witherspoon's out this year for the Falcons, unfortunately. But now, I mean, you're talking about him coming in as a 2-star, was a receiver, and now the Falcons are like, oh, what are we going to do without Sean Witherspoon at linebacker? Right. We're in big trouble. So just how far he's come and how well the Mizzou coaches develop players and find the player that's a right fit for them is extraordinary.
You know, as you look at it, Missouri, and there's going to be some players that come from this team that do the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be some unheralded players, and I'll tell you what, you know about Shane Ray, you know about Marcus Golden, but I love Michael Shear, the linebacker. Here's a guy coming in to replace an incumbent, Andrew Wilson, top 10 in Missouri football history in tackles. Michael Shear is that type of guy. He's just a sound, good instinctive football player that I think is going to be an Andrew Wilson type player. Donovan Newsom, fast, athletic. Kentrell Brothers, same thing. The linebacking core is going to be huge. And I think that one unheralded player on the defensive line, Josh Augusta, true sophomore. He's not 21 yet. Kid can't even come to a bar and drink. 330 pounds, and he runs a 4.940. I said it, and I mean it. 4.940, Josh Augusta.
Yeah, that is going to be huge for them. Work him in the rotation as a just gigantic run stuffer. It's going to be amazing to see him in there. And, I mean, running a 4.9, that's kind of Dontari Poe stuff.
Right.
So that's going to be exciting to watch as you've seen what Dontari Poe's done in the NFL and his versatility, athleticism. Josh Augusta is going to bring that to Mizzou, and that's just going to be amazing to see.
Missouri, guys, it's going to be a fun season. We're so excited to be covering Mizzou football, SEC football, the National Football League. We can't wait to do all of it, and we're going to have your backs here at the Great American Sports Network on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored, and as well as everything else we do. Blogs, articles, interviews, it's all there on GreatAmericanSportsNetwork.com, guys. I cannot stress enough. We hope you will go check us out. You're on the website as it is watching. Check out the site. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It has been wonderful to be here at Shiloh's Bar and Grill as it starts to fill up here. They need our table, actually, so we're going to have to shuffle on out.
That we are. It's been amazing being in Columbia, being at Shiloh. Can't thank them enough for the hospitality they've shown us and just what a great atmosphere it is for the game. If you can't make it out to the game or come before and after, I mean, it's just a great place to be, and you definitely need to hit up Shiloh when you're in Columbia.
Guys, we are off to Faroe Field. Thanks for joining us on Gridiron Gameday Uncensored. I'm Clint Switzer. This is Noah Gronniger. Thank you so much for joining us.
M-I-Z.
Z-O this you. It's so fun.